Welcome to the show, everybody. How is everybody doing today? Kind of a crazy afternoon for me. Apparently, Verizon doesn't work. So, so one of my phones is inoperable today. But the good news is I have a Patriot mobile phone and it works. So it's a good time to plug them. So if you want to switch to Patriot Mobile, I do have a promo code USA Vets for a free month of service. But today, I have a special guest. He was lined up through some friends that I have, and I'm really looking forward to it. He's very well spoken, and he has a huge YouTube channel. If you haven't checked him out, please do. He's just fairly new here on X, building his account here on X, but his YouTube channel is massive. He has over 100,000 subscribers, and just really fantastic speaker, and I think you guys will like him. So without further ado, welcome to the stage, Michael Wan. How you doing today, sir?
Justin. Hi, Justin. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. Yeah, just working through the Verizon outage over here. Apparently, I'm in a heavily hit area, but I didn't realize it until you said you couldn't get a hold of me today. But how are you doing out there?
Yeah, it's an honor to be on your show, Jay, and I'm doing good. I think American politics-wise, we're happy. I think President Trump is really rocking and rolling. But right now in South Korea, the situation is pretty dire. So it's like the opposite flip of, the opposite side of the coin. And right now, I think the South Korean conservatives, all they want is some help from President Trump. I think they really want America to intervene. Every single conservative that I talk with, and they all want some kind of intervention by the United States at this point, because I mean it's all about voter fraud issues. I mean, if the far left, if they take over the election system, there's no way for the conservative or the right wing party to win. There's no option right now at this point.
Yeah, and I just want to welcome Madeline to the stage too. Madeline, my co-host, the prettiest person on the stage here today. Welcome to the stage, Madeline. I appreciate you coming in here.
Hi, Jay. Thanks for having me. Hi, Michael. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Madeline. Nice to meet you too.
Yeah, she's Madeline and I. We became friends through X Spaces, and we also are regulars on Angela Bel Camino's show. She's really knowledgeable and doesn't agree with me on everything, but she is very smart and knows some things a lot better than I do. And so I'm just happy to have her here today too with me.
Great. That's great.
So kind of set the stage for us here for my followers, for Madeline's followers here on X. Kind of set the stage, a little bit about your background, talk about your media ties, and then how you kind of got started in all this, and then the American politics piece.
Yeah, so I was born in Seoul, South Korea, and I lived in Baltimore, Maryland between 4 to 8 years old, and then I went back to South Korea, and then graduated high school, came back. I went to college in Oklahoma, and that's where I became a conservative. There's a lady named Joanne. Through her, I mean, I completely changed my life. I was talking about. I remember it happened in 1999. I was talking about some political stuff. And then I said, did you check out the New York Times yesterday? And she said, and Joanne told me, hey, Michael, I never read the New York Times, So I didn't understand what she was talking about. But then later I found out that how left wing and how much of a biased newspaper that the New York Times is. And then she talked about, she and her husband, Don, they both talked about like Fox News figures like Bill O'Reilly. I didn't even know who Bill O'Reilly was back then. I didn't know, Sean Hannity and all these, but these characters would just keep popping up. I would go there every Friday because she was teaching, like I was an international student too. So she was teaching Bible study every Friday. And she would always talk about these characters that I've never heard of, Bill O'Reilly, Sean Hannity, or all these figures. So it made me interested about what they had to say. And when I first watched Bill O'Reilly Factor, and also there was another program that I loved a lot, Bill Maher's politically correct, politically incorrect. That was one of my favorite shows too. And I remember telling myself, I never heard these kind of conversations in South Korea. And the immediate impression that I felt was, oh, how free Americans talk about all kinds of issues. And I think that kind of opened me up to um, a different point of view. And then in 2002, I came to Los Angeles, and then I became a newspaper reporter. And then I really dived in. I would watch Fox News every day, and listen to Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly had a huge impact on me. Bill O'Reilly. It's two figures. It's Bill O'Reilly and Bill Maher. I know Bill O'Reilly is conservative and Bill Maher is a liberal, so I got to see both sides of the story. But I would watch Fox News regularly, and then I would tell myself, how come I don't hear these kind of point of views on the Korean newspaper or even South Korean legacy medias? And I became the first person who talked about these issues. I became a super controversial figure in the Korean community, and they would a lot of people would bash me, a lot of people would support me, and I've been through a lot of suppression, and I couldn't build a lot of big numbers in X because I was hacked. My account was hacked immediately, almost. I think it was by CCP or some left wing loon in South Korea, and so that's why I couldn't even use my own X account. So I had to build a new one, and this is my like third account. I think now I have like I immediately had like 1,200 followers the first month, but then I got hacked immediately, and this one I have like 900 something, but and I didn't have time as a journalist. I was so busy reporting things every day. So if you're busy reporting, and the Korean media, they didn't emphasize on X, so we didn't put a lot of our reports on X as well. So anyway, I became a conservative pretty much in starting from 1999. I think that was a year when I really became conservative. And then as a newspaper reporter, I was the first Korean American conservative reporter. And I started my YouTube show actually at Korea Daily. It's a daily newspaper company. Korea Daily is the largest newspaper company in South Korea, and also the largest Korean language-based newspaper in America as well. And the headquarters is in Los Angeles, and I was there as a newspaper reporter for 20 years. And I immediately became controversial when I started writing columns about the conservative point of views. And in 2022, I was, I was hired as news director for Radio Korea. So Radio Korea is also the largest Korean language radio company, and I was there for 2 years, and then starting from October of 2024, I'm doing my own thing because my YouTube channel became too big that it's hard. It was very difficult. It was not easy for me to hold two jobs. Do my newspaper job or news director job, and also doing my YouTube thing at the same time. So I decided, and also I didn't politically align with the owner there at
Yeah.
Radio Korea. He was very far left, and in all honesty, I didn't understand why he even hired me. Because if he's like super far left, So, and I think he wanted to balance it out, But
Yeah. Well, I mean, with your 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, I mean, that's almost like your own media channel in and of itself. Like
yeah,
that's a lot harder to get.
I
100,000
I
followers.
already had 130,000 back in 2020. At Korea Daily, I made a program called Michael Wan's Op-Ed, and I had an English show and a Korean show. I started off with my Korean show, and it really quickly, it really built really fast. So if you see all the Korean influencers in South Korea who has like almost 1 million subscribers, many of them said they woke up because of me. Like I was like the pioneer, so to speak, because I've been talking about a lot of things like Operation Mockingbird, how the CIA infiltrated the American media and stuff like that. I would talk about all this. So I think that I was, do you remember back in 2021 when the Biden administration went after everybody?
Yeah.
And suppressed? So I was heavily suppressed. So I left my company. I started my I started my own YouTube channel in 2021 because it was generating a lot of money. I generated like almost $500,000 for my previous company, Career Daily. So I felt like, hey, I think I can do this by myself. I should just do it. Why just work for somebody? And my character wise, I'm not a good. I think, you know, um, especially in the news business, if you don't politically align with your boss, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. I think, Madeline, you would know what I'm saying. It's very difficult. So because you have to shape and edit your articles uh, to
Or
to
I
appease your
right, you have
editor.
great black and white stories, and then
Yeah.
they shape it where however they want, and especially being on the right. I work
Mhm.
with New York Times and Wall Street Journal, and I
Yeah.
could sit down with them and give them everything, and then they'll take their angle, and we just have to appreciate that there is an angle out there at all, and that's
Exactly.
the hardest
Exactly.
part.
Yeah.
Really
So,
difficult.
mhm. Yeah.
Yep.
So in my case, I had to always convince the editors, bring all the proof, how this could be a good story, even though it has a anti left wing and pro conservative component to my articles. But so I had to always convince my bosses first, and then so it was like a lot of obstacles. But anyway, so I made my own channel in January of 2021, but immediately I got suppressed. So I built like 47,000 subscribers within a month because I already had a huge following. I mean, not huge, but still. And I didn't grow a single subscriber for like 3-4 years. They would always delete. You can see it on your analysis, the YouTube channel analysis. It shows how many new subscribers you've got and how many subscribers you lost. I would lose like 2,000 subscribers per month. And I knew that it wasn't because I disappointed my subscribers. It was because of the suppression that,
Right.
Biden administration has done. And if Elon Musk if he didn't buy X, I think everybody would have been suppressed still.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's why I came to X, was because of the suppression.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the whole reason why I started my account. I didn't do this initially to do anything with it. It was just more for news, for funny memes, and to be able to like actually talk to people. Whereas on Facebook, on these other platforms or whatever, it was heavily suppressed. Like even my would say, hey, it was like 2 weeks after you posted a photo that I would see it. Well, she should be like the first person seeing it, right? It's my mom. We're going to each other's pages, we're engaging each other regularly, but that's how heavily suppressed I was. And so I came here, and during the Trump campaign is when my account really grew, and I started doing spaces, and it became something more than just social media. You can do real things, right? I made a post yesterday about the driver's license in South Carolina or whatever. Well, there's a state legislator he's drawing a bill for what I posted yesterday, and I've tagged my congressman in things, and he's co-sponsored bills because of these tags. And that's the real cool, that's the cool thing that you can do with some of this. And I appreciate Elon Musk, for doing that, because I don't think there's any other place that I would have been able to do that. And as far as like YouTube though, X has a problem with bots, and YouTube, I think you have more authentic followers when you have an account with 100,000 subscribers, that they're real people watching you, whereas X will get a lot of bots, following our account or whatever. And so when you lose stuff, it's because they're doing bots purges, and we'll see it, especially when you get up to like my level account, like it'll go up, it'll go down, it'll go up, it'll go down. And so they're getting rid of accounts that they view as inauthentic. So yeah.
Well, I saw the best thing to do in no numbers and how you would tell when things were suppressed is, I believe that's why email newsletters became such a hit, because people who would go out and, you would create your YouTube video, and then you would create this newsletter and you would add your YouTube video in. And it's like all of your subscribers, they open their email and they're like, why didn't I see this email? Why didn't I see this video? I follow you, I check it. And so I really think that's when the email newsletter became such a hit in the last couple years, because it's really been a roundup of all the content that has been suppressed, and people open their emails and emails are not as suppressed as these
Right.
are.
Oh, is that why the news? I didn't get to. So I did do newsletters when I was working for the newspaper company, as well as at Radio Korea and at Korea Daily too. But me myself, I checked all sorts of articles myself, so I wasn't like really crazy about newsletters, but I did, but later I found out a lot of people would post their stuff on Substack and stuff. Is it still a big thing, you think, newsletters?
Yeah, I think for somebody who has a controversial channel or talks about anything newsworthy, I think having subscribers and really creating that email, it helps you with also talking about other topics, kind of foreshadowing what's to come. It can,
Okay.
when you kind of, go into other channels, it, tells people, oh, go look at, follow my X account. I'm glad you watched this, YouTube, make sure you follow an X. It's a great way just to remind your followers. And I think it's why a lot of people did focus heavily on email.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to target. And when I started seeing the responses, like, thank God I follow your email, it only added more subscribers too, because then the people who follow your email from X, then they'll go to YouTube. So it really brings everything together. And I saw that it really did bring, feedback wise, I think it really helped with getting impressions up. And for those who were suppressed, kind of remind people, because emails are not suppressed.
Yeah, I think so. And I just wanted to add a little bit more of my story. I mean, one of the reasons why I had to continue working for somebody was because of the suppression. I mean, in all honesty, I just wanted to be an independent journalist right off the bat in 2021. I was so shocked when Biden won. I knew immediately this is voter fraud. It just doesn't make sense. And now we found out that Venezuela was behind all this, with Smartmatic and all the Dominion. And I think that the same thing is happening right now in South Korea. And yeah, just wanted to add that info.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's a playbook that's worked in a lot of places, and that's the unfortunate part. And so, for us here, what disappoints me the most is that we haven't done anything to solve it, really. We've kind of sat on our hands for an entire year and wasted the time where we could have been, whatever, maybe we can only do it in red states, but if we can do it in red states, that's a lot of votes that we can, I guess, we can get a more accurate count. And I think this country is a lot more conservative than our voting actually shows. And so if we could get a little bit of an election integrity, that it'll reflect that. But, and I think it's really important that we can have the conversation now, though. We were talking about this earlier, is if we didn't have these social media platforms, we would be in the blind, right?
You're right.
We wouldn't even know this stuff was happening.
I mean, what is Pam Bondi doing? I just don't understand it. I mean, I'm just tired of it. I mean, Pam Bondi has been a huge disappointment.
A huge disappointment. You're talking to the queen of calling out Pam Bondi. James Comer, Oversight Committee, I said this last night, he's having to work twice as hard to bring everyone before the House, because at the end of the day, Pam Bondi won't do anything. She's sitting on referrals and investigations. And I think, I know Massey, Comer, all these people are coming out and just saying, this is not working. She's not doing anything. Where is Pam Bondi? Now it's not just the American taxpayer and voter. It is now the people that are a part of the Trump cabinet and a part of the Trump administration and the House.
I mean, this is not our first rodeo. We went through this before with Jeff Sessions. Because of Jeff Sessions, Trump had to go through the Mueller investigation. And then after Jeff Sessions, it was Bill Barr. And Bill Barr, to me, seems like he's a deep stater himself, too, with his dad, Donald Barr. He's the one who hired Jeffrey Epstein to the high school when he doesn't even have a college degree. I just don't understand it. And this time we thought that I wanted Matt Gaetz to be there. I really did. But I think he was trapped somehow. I don't know the exact. I mean, I did hear about a lot of stories behind the scenes regarding Matt Gaetz, but anyway, he decided not to be the AG. And yesterday on my show, I said personally I want Trey Gowdy. And, coincidentally, a lot of people said the same thing today on X. But Matt Gaetz came out and he said that Trey Gowdy would be a disaster. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, I think Trey Gowdy's kind of a blowhard, but the thing is, we need somebody who isn't afraid in that position,
Right.
right? Because these are dangerous people that they're going after. They're very like these people will ruin your life if you're wrong. If you swing and miss, these people will come after you relentlessly, and they have cash that affords them the ability to really be almost untouchable, and that they're proving that right now. And so in terms of the AG, you need somebody who is absolutely fearless, who is willing to go against the grain and do things that we've never had an AG do before. And so, not since like revolutionary times, it's just
Right.
they're going to have to really be all in and really be a patriot and really put everything on the line in order to get this country back to the way it should be, because these people have been running far too long with zero scrutiny.
I mean, we need somebody like Trump
Right.
at the AG position, and it seems like there's just so like a Bill Clinton, he's just saying "F you" to Congress when they subpoenaed him. I mean, isn't he supposed to go to jail?
I mean, in a just world, he absolutely would, and they would raid their compound, and they're basically saying like like you said, F you, and come after us, and they're really they're showing how untouchable they are by just saying we don't care what you have to say. I mean, hell, Hunter Biden ignored his subpoena. Like
I mean, but our side always go to jail. Steve Bannon went to jail.
Peter Navarro went to jail. Yeah, it's a problem.
Even like journalists like Owen Schroyer went to jail. I mean, I'm just so sick and tired of it. I think last week I was just complaining. I was just complaining over and over and over again about this situation. Like, we have the Congress, the Senate, the White House, and even the U.S. Supreme Court. And how come we can't do anything? I mean, it's all zero. Nobody goes to jail because of Trump-Russia collusion, the COVID-19 pandemic. Nobody. I mean, they're not accountable for anything. Like, you have James Comey putting on his social Instagram. What was it? 8647. He wanted to pretty much murder President Trump, but nothing. There's no consequences, and it seems like they have this arrogance. Like, even though they do get charged, they would be tried in Washington, D.C. mostly, or Virginia, which is a heavily blue area, and they would just get
not to cut you off, but what's crazy is that those who bring black and white evidence to the DOJ, an open investigation. I was in Greenbelt, Maryland. My client then was called to Greenbelt, Maryland, because she wanted to investigate Adam Schiff for mortgage fraud and election integrity. And ultimately, she's now being investigated for conspiracy, basically. And I'm the person that was there with the FBI agent, the AG, IOG, all of them. And they all looked at us and said, "Mega? You mean Team Mega?" They are investigating us because we are investigating the fraud that is happening. And then we hear nothing from Bondi. Nothing. We get nothing from the special investigator. And it's just really sad at the end of the day, because now anybody that does want to speak up is then looking at charges themselves. And basically, we think it was a fear tactic. Obviously, I went up and said, I'm still going to share the referral. I'm still going to, go to the media. And we did we stopped at Fox, CNN, everywhere that night after we were in Greenbelt. But it's still really sad, because ultimately, those who are going after the crimes, what you're saying, are now being investigated. The Democrats are making list of rearrest.
That is so disheartening. I didn't know about that, about the Adam Schiff. I thought that, things were going pretty well, but that is another depressing story.
Yeah, well, it's just me proving what you're saying is nothing is being done. And then on top of that, now conservatives are being targeted for arrest
Yeah,
and indictment. It's
I
crazy.
heard that Michael Flynn also talked about him being a target again recently at Alex Jones' show. I mean, I'm wondering at this point, I gave up, if there's a part of me that gave up on this judicial system. I feel like they're never going to go to jail. I really one of my dream was to see Barack Obama go to jail, at least be tried,
Love that.
of concocting the Trump-Russia collusion thing. I knew it, immediately when Trump got elected in 2016, and a month later, he talked about, Obama was talking about Russia being behind all this. I knew it immediately that he's involved. But I think the arrogance, it's like they don't care, It's like, what are you going to do about it? It's like they're rubbing it, on our face every single day. And we can talk about it. We expose them. I don't think we can expose them any more than this, right? We exposed everything, and there's no consequences.
Tulsi brought them black and white evidence too. She
exactly
brought the whole file, and then they basically pushed her out. They kept her out of the whole Venezuela thing because she was pro Venezuela on certain things. I don't know why they kept her out of it. But right before the holiday, when DOJ still had not done anything, she started going out on a podcast and saying the same thing now Comer, Massey, and everyone else is saying. Why is DOJ not doing anything? I've handed them the evidence. Really, all it's doing is for people like myself, people like my clients, people like Tulsi, all it's doing is targeting people of the right for if the left come back into office, we all now have to be in fear of being targeted. And that's my issue is if we don't take a fine line on accountability and show that we'll come after people, not only are we going to lose midterms and lose elections, but then at the same time, we all who speak out and are actually doing the work are going to be targeted by the left.
I think that's, I really worry about that. And yeah, I'm wondering, even regarding like Charlie Kirk, when, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, a lot of people are raising questions about it. I, for one, I first thought that it's Tyler Robinson, but now at this point, I don't think so. I think there's something more sinister going on. And I don't feel like Kash Patel is really aggressive about it. If I'm a friend, if my friend dies like that, I would really go out of my way to investigate more and put more people. But I don't think they're even doing that. So I'm wondering whether they have this club that, the comedian George Carlin talked about, that we're just not in this club and they're just going to run the whole thing. And we're just in this matrix and, we're always on the losing teams. I feel that way.
It's unfortunate because the more, Kash Patel, he spoke a huge game going into this, administration. And I feel like he's been another real disappointment. I really think FBI and DOJ have been our biggest disappointment in the Trump cabinet. And at the end of the day, I think Kash Patel has done a horrible job when it comes to transparency and speaking for himself and really talking to the American people. He knows more than anybody that the American voter and taxpayer has lost all hope in the FBI. We don't believe in it. We don't believe the government is on our side. And so for him to talk, he somewhat has talked down on people and made, comments about how we all are questioning the Charlie Kirk. How is this news? He went on Joe Rogan. He used to question the FBI. So I don't know why he's pretending that any of us are, just supposed to believe him at this rate. And I think Dan Bongino's still on payroll. I think they know they're losing the information war and they sent him back to just, help them fight the good fight. But he came out hitting, strong, and now everybody's up against
I was a huge fan of Dan Bongino, and he's also from Baltimore, Maryland. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland.
Yep.
So I really followed him a lot, and he was a truth teller. But for him, I remember him and Kash Patel. They both did an interview with Maria Bartiromo, right? Fox News Sunday show, and it's the tone. Like, especially Dan Bongino, he was like on the forefront about this Epstein thing, that we should be exposing all this. But for him, and he also doubted that Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. Yeah. But for him to, talk down, like you said, Madeline, like he treated us like conspiracy theorists all of a sudden. Like, he's dead. I mean, he committed suicide. I checked it. And it's also the way that he talked to his fellow conservatives. I felt like he was out of line. I don't know if it almost felt like they were both held hostage. I just don't understand it, whether there's some kind of like script that you have to follow for them to flip like this. And Dan Bongino to come back to just regular citizen, and he's doing his podcast show now, and he is attacking the truth tellers like Dave Smith, and I just don't understand it. He just flipped. I don't understand it. Do you go to government and do you get flipped, or do you go through this MK Ultra thing and get brainwashed? I just don't understand it.
I mean, I have a really hard opinion on a lot of people being supported by what is really dividing the party, and a lot of people don't want to say it, is the mega base is divided by the state of Israel. I am not anti-Semitic. I have family members that are Jewish. I have friends that are Jewish. This does not make me anti-Semitic for saying it. I have issues when you follow the money, you follow these corporate PACs, you follow APAC, and you follow the people that have the influence on this administration. Dan Bongino came right out and said, I support Israel. All these people have. And I can't say neither here nor there. All I can say is that there is an issue. There's something deeper than all of this, because what makes me really sad is we all relied on this administration to be transparent. Right. And as much as they're saying they're being transparent, I don't feel that we're getting the swamp, the things that we really want to see and we really want to be exposed. I feel like it's only been highlighted. Like it's almost like a game like they're just being like, okay, sure, we're going to tell you Israel's going to come and pay a bunch of influencers. I don't understand why we're going to let a foreign country pay influencers, and then those influencers don't have to go to DOJ and register as foreign agents, because as far as I'm concerned, that's a part of law.
It doesn't make sense, and and a lot of people are suspicious about the JFK assassination. I think JFK and Robert Kennedy Jr. wanted Israel to register as a foreign nation, to register as FARA, and in the process of that, they got assassinated. And I don't believe the Oswald narrative either on that one. And I think a lot of people are down. I'm also a Christian. I used to go to a Pentecostal church. The church has a Israel flag, so I was super pro-Israel myself. But if you really study about the Israel influence on America, the Israel lobby, even the book, I think probably they do a lot of positive things too, but you get to see a lot of negative side of Israel. And as a Christian, I think we can support Israel as a nation, but it doesn't mean that Benjamin Netanyahu and the government is holy. The government is not holy.
What's different to me, like, I don't have an issue with the state of Israel. I don't have an issue with Jewish communities, right? I don't. I live in Los Angeles, where I live 5 minutes from a 3rd Street and 6th Street in Los Angeles. You have a huge Orthodox community, and I have synagogue right there. I'm right by Beverly Hills. I have no issue with Jewish people, and that's the problem, though, is if I speak out and say anything like, why is this allowed? Because the truth is if we allow China, the CCP, to come in and pay influencers, the Conservative Party would be going insane.
You're right. So they would, but I
don't understand what the difference is.
I think at this point, Ben Shapiro might be a Mossad agent. Personally, I was never a fan of his, and he's make Israel great again. He's a Israel firster, and I think you should be MAGA. I thought it was a MAGA movement. He was actually very against President Trump. I used to listen to his radio show, not him. He used to, Madeline, you live in Los Angeles, so I live in Los Angeles too. So he had a radio show here with Jennifer Horn and some other radio hosts. So it was like 3-4 members, and he would always attack President Trump, during the 2016 election cycle. So I was not a huge fan of Ben Shapiro. Still am not. And I believe, so I think Candace Owens became like a huge controversial figure at this point. Mm-hmm. I watch her show every day. I do, because I get to know a lot of things that other people are not, are not telling us. And especially she has a personal angle, right? She used to work for Turning Point USA, and she did work for PragerU, all these Jewish media, famous Jewish media companies. So I think she has some insights there. And all the questions that she raised, I think it makes sense, doesn't it? Does it not?
Well, Carlson confirmed she was the one that came out about the Egyptian planes.
Yeah.
And Tucker Carlson, pretty
Yep.
respected as a journalist as
Yep.
well.
He was number one.
confirmed it. And so, I think it's a real shame what they've done to Candace Owens and to other voices in the conservative media. I think the fact that we have media trying to tell us how we can speak and what we can speak on in the story, that is not what the right was about. We've been suppressed enough. Why are we suppressing ourselves? Why are we suppressing each other?
Exactly.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think Candace Owens is asking questions that people do, the truth is sometimes when you ask questions it hurts because the truth is in the question. Why should we be afraid to ask questions? That's the biggest thing. I don't understand that.
Yeah, they're even attacking Megyn Kelly now. Ben Shapiro shouldn't have done that at AmFest, and going after Megyn Kelly. And Megyn Kelly was playing pretty fair in my view.
And I think that should be a wake-up call. Like, it's not just Candace Owens. They're attacking Megyn Kelly. They're attacking Tucker. They're going to continue to attack everybody until everybody is either on their side in their agenda. That is their way of doing this. And I have been called, an anti-Semitic person and an anti-Semite many times, only because I've raised questions. And I was never somebody that watched Candace over and over and over every day. I will admit to that. But as the turning point things have happened and as more has come out, I'm following it because I'm going to continue to defend this because I have different opinions on things, right? I have a different opinion than Jay, but that doesn't mean he doesn't bring me on and we don't have dialogue. And if the conservative movement wants to honor Charlie, he was all about dialogue.
You're right. And I think probably that's why
that down.
Probably that's the reason why they assassinated him, because he started doubting about the Israel influence. He talked about USS Liberty, right? He talked about, even the text. We thought that, so I wasn't a huge fan of Candace too, because Candace left the MAGA train. You know that, right? Candace, I think in March, after, what was it? After attacking Israel, something came up, and I think she said on her show that she's embarrassed that she told her viewers to vote for Trump. So she left long before Charlie Kirk got assassinated. So I wasn't a huge fan of Candace either, because I was fully on the MAGA train.
But my question is now, just knowing all that, looking back, was Candace right? Did Candace know that this administration was going to be heavily influenced by a certain group of people that had already attacked her and ruined her life?
Yeah.
She was attacked by Ben Shapiro, fired publicly. She's been berated by him for years now. So my question is maybe she foresaw what was coming.
Yeah.
And I don't blame her, because a lot of the mega movement, she just doesn't realize it, but a lot of that movement followed everything Trump said religiously.
That is true.
I worked with Trump campaign. I love Trump. It's hard because you're stuck in between what you believe and what is.
You're right. I think in Candace's case, so I did tell myself I didn't understand why she would leave Christianity. I mean, Protestant Christian to Catholic. That was also difficult for me, because I was raised Catholic, and then I converted to Christianity. So for me, so she went the opposite road. So I didn't understand it, but now I fully understand. It's the Israel angle. Now I completely understand it, and I do understand why she even went out of her way to say, I feel embarrassed to ever endorse Trump, because I think it's also her personal story, how she was personally attacked by Ben Shapiro and all the Jewish community, pro-Israel Jewish community. And I think this became a huge thing. And Candace Owens, because of that, and because a lot of people did agree with what she said, she became the #1 podcaster in the world, I think, right? So I think a lot of people are on her side at this point, not because they're necessarily anti-Israel. I have a lot of Jewish friends too myself, and I'm in the big picture, I'm pro-Israel. I'm not going to be on Hamas's side, but it doesn't mean that Israel is always holier than thou. The government is not holier than thou. I think they do a lot of fishy things. I think blackmailing. I don't know personally, but I think there's a lot of reports that I've read about it, and I think Candace has been on the forefront at this point with Tucker Carlson. They both won Anti-Semite of the Year back to back, so I think that really says something too.
Yeah. Me and Jay have talked about this before. I think at the end of the day, until the party wants to come together and realize we have to work together, or until everybody wants to stop taking money from like Adelson's and everyone else,
Right.
then we're going to be in this spot where you're going to divide the voter. And me and Jay have also said you have to listen to Candace, and you have to look at all of these people that follow her, because these are at the end of the day, a lot of these people are not Democrats that subscribe to Candace Owens.
You're right.
They are independents, but more right-leaning. And so if you attack Candace Owens, you are attacking a huge group of people, and you are going to push that voter away from what we need in the terms and these upcoming elections.
Yeah, my issue with Candace was this, because she is so focused on the Israel issue that she's not seeing all the great stuff that President Trump has been doing, sealing the border on the southern and northern side, and, attacking fentanyl coming to the States. He's doing many, many things. The tariffs, we're getting a lot of revenues because of that. I mean, so many great things has happened since Trump came in. But if you watch Candace Owens' show, it's all negative all the way through. That is one objection I have regarding Candace, but her report is excellent. I do think Brigitte Macron is a guy, by the way.
I would love to get your take on it, since you brought up tariffs, and with everything going on in Venezuela, we're talking about Israel now and whatnot. I would love to get your take on BRICS, and if you think this all, in my opinion, BRICS has been a huge part of this whole administration, and all of these things we're seeing from Venezuela to Greenland. I think we're really trying to weaken China and Russia, and obviously Iran. They all go together. And so I'd love to get your opinion on that.
Yeah, I think that's what it's about. I think it's about being anti-CCP. I wouldn't say anti-China. The people are nice, but it's the government, the oppression that they do to Christians, not just Christians, the Falun Gongs. It's horrendous with organ harvesting going on. People just disappear. I heard that people just disappear. Like if you see a neighbor and one day you would just not see that neighbor. That's how controlled that nation is. And I think Venezuela, if you look at their export of oil, 80% of their oil go to China, CCP.
Yeah.
So they're buying these
and they were using the yen. They were not using dollars. So that was strengthening, the Chinese.
They're challenging the petrodollar system as well. So I think President Trump sees this. He sees CCP as a threat, and it's not like he never talked about it. He talked about the threat of CCP, even in his books. If you read his books, like in the 2000s, he talked about it, and his book in Crippled America, and even during the 2016 cycle. So he is keeping his promise, hitting them with tariffs, and they fought back with the rare earth minerals, right? Because rare earth, America, we were number one in the world. But all our previous stupid presidents just allowed this to happen, and then we lost because of the environmental rules and all that stuff. A lot of the rare earth actually happened here, Madeline and Jay, in California. But now we lost all of it into China, and Trump wants to get it all back. And I think we had to go through this rough patch. I think they do have the edge on the rare earth issue, China. But Trump is trying to bring down the power of CCP. It's obvious. Getting by arresting Maduro, and then Trump said, we're going to run the country, run the oil business there. And I think with that in itself, you block the revenue stream.
Yeah.
That goes from Venezuela to China, CCP, and also Iran too. Iran they're number 3, I think, by oil reserve ranking. Venezuela is number 1, and I understand that Iran is number 3, and I think Trump is also blocking that as well. So when you block these revenue stream, and oil is the most important thing in the world. I mean, if you look at the world economy, so I think it will bring another notch down from the CCP. And the reason why Trump wants to take over Greenland is, I mean, he believes that America should have more control on Greenland is because of the rare earth, and also against Russia as well. So he's playing this 5D chess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is something that Candace doesn't know, I think, you know?
Yeah, so I was just curious because before when I agree the drug votes, and I, as much as I come out and say things against Trump, it's only because a lot of the base doesn't want to talk about certain things and we need to highlight them,
Right.
especially being on the ground and working with certain
Mm-hmm.
candidates and whatnot. But then at the same time, I'm really proud of what Trump's done. I'm really proud. Middle America has been hit hard with manufacturing. We've got to start manufacturing
Mm-hmm.
in America again. The first way is to bring jobs back, create jobs, bring
Mm-hmm.
businesses back. But it's also a long game. And so I was really curious with BRICS because this all goes into play with that. And,
Yeah,
Bill Clinton really screwed us when it came to the trade,
you're
with
right.
trade deals and China.
You're right.
He really sold us up the river with that one. So yeah.
You're right. Yeah, and I think Trump is it's many people criticize Trump being a isolationist, during his first term, that he wants just America to be great, but it's actually not that. It's not stuck in that world anymore. On the second term, I think that Trump realized that our neighbors has to live well as well, like Mexico, the cartel, the drug cartel there as well is an issue. So that's why he said that Mexico could be attacked, their cartel, and Venezuela. So all the Central America and South America, I think he wants them to be financially better than how they are right now, because it negatively impacts America. The gangs coming over here and the fentanyl. So
Yeah.
I think Trump is seeing this as in a bigger picture. And if there's a country that is pro-America like Argentina, he would support those nations, right? They have a rare earth there, and I think Trump is kind of purchasing it a little bit higher price than the market value, I think, to help them out, because he thinks in the long run that it's beneficial to America as well. And I read the report yesterday that Argentina is paying back America, yeah, because their revenue has been higher than expected. So I'm fully supporting what Trump is doing regarding Venezuela, potentially to Iran, and internationally, I think he's A+ all the way across the board. But I think it's the Israel issue that has divided the MAGA base, and the influencers talked about this. But we have to also understand President Trump was always pro-Israel. Yes. He has never wavered there. So I think if Candace and Tucker, if they expect Trump to suddenly go anti-Israel, I think that's a pipe dream. Because Trump has always been pro-Israel.
Jared Kushner, the Kushners are, they're Jewish, and his daughter has converted to Judaism. He said that this week in the media, no, he is not going to ever turn. I'm not asking people to turn on Israel. My only thing is we've got to tone down the rhetoric, and I think a big part of this comes from. I'm sorry, but this comes from the Ben Shapiros. This comes from because they are making people like myself say, what is wrong with you? Maybe there is something there with Israel, because it's not like I want to go after Israel. I could care less if somebody is Jewish. You know this. You go down the street, you meet people in California, especially where we live in Los Angeles.
17%.
You don't know if I'm in yoga, if that person's Jewish next to me.
Right.
So that is not it. For me, it's about, I don't like all the rhetoric, and I don't like the way they're telling me I can't have an issue with certain things. And I don't like the foreign influence. I think that we should, the American flag should be flown always. And there's a lot of these big press conferences that are happening with different congressional candidates, and they put the Israel flag behind them. And I'm like, are you just trying to dance in front of on the stage and ask for money? I mean, what does that say? Because to me, you're selling your soul. You're selling your candidacy, selling your positions, and you're basically saying you're for sale. And the taxpayer does not want somebody that's going to be worried about another country. We have corruption here. We have problems here. And if we want to make America great again and keep it great, then we need to worry about what's going on here. You live in LA, you know more than as much as I do. Our streets are not as pretty. It looks like a third world country.
Koreatown is horrendous. You can see like human feces all over the place. I mean, it's horrendous there. Yeah. I'm 100% with you, Madeline. And I think this Israel, it's not like people went out of their way it's not like the MAGA people went out of their way to attack Israel
No.
or Israel government. It just happened naturally because of the Epstein issue. Because we talked about the Epstein issue for decades, right? Alex Jones talked about it since 2015 or something, I mean, because this Epstein, and they considered, the legacy media considered the Epstein story as conspiracy theory.
Well,
and if you look at like Ben Shapiro and all these legacy media like Mark Levin, they do not want to talk about Epstein. What does that tell you? I think Epstein was a Mossad agent.
I mean, in my opinion, sure. Did Thomas Massie want, to bring the Epstein files, have exposed? But really, the reason I believe Thomas Massie, pushed to have these exposed is because he went after the pro-Israel group of people, because he doesn't take money from AIPAC.
Yeah.
So when he didn't take money from AIPAC, they started spending like $1 million to $2 million in a quarter against him back in like June. And that's when he was like, okay, you know what? I know how I can win this. The people who don't like Israel, they want to see Epstein. So I'm going to fundraise and I'm going to go after releasing these. I mean, it was a smart play on his part.
It is.
I'm sure he would love to see justice, but in my opinion, the man's dead. And we all know Bill Clinton slept with women and wasn't the best husband. We all know Bill Gates is not a great guy. So like, I don't, at this rate, like, we're going to see redacted files. It is what it is. If it comes out, it comes out. But I just think that it's really sad because this issue is dividing our base.
Yeah, you're right. Jay, I mean, you can talk about it too, but I just didn't expect that the Epstein issue would divide the MAGA base. That is something that I didn't expect. I didn't know, I didn't see the Israel angle as clearly like last year or a couple years ago. But now, as you dig up more and more, I think that's why they didn't want to release the entire JFK files too. Israel pops up too many times, and I think they don't want to talk about it. I mean, Trump admin don't want to talk about it. Even the Democrats don't want to talk about it.
It's awkward.
You're
like
right.
You see these investigators going in to. I just watched a video and shared it about somebody goes in and talks about the people who are part of the CDC during the pandemic, and they list all these Jewish names and whatnot, and it's just they keep popping up. And listen, we always talk about this. The Jewish population is not that big. So the crazy thing is
2%?
Yeah, like they keep popping up everywhere, and it's just like, this is so odd for how small of a population you are, and as of a demographic. Why is it that they keep popping up in all these big stories and like in the background of these huge political plays? Yeah, I think that unfortunately we're going to see citizen journalists, we're going to see more Candace Owens, and we're going to see more people ask questions. And the problem, I think, is, and I have a lot of Jewish friends, and I've said this because they've brought it to my attention too. I also have Persian friends. Beverly Hills, there's a lot of Persians.
Yeah, a lot of Persians.
A lot of Persians, and one of my really close doctors is a Persian, so like I have to be careful too, because I have close friends on both sides of the aisle. But on that, but
Same
at the end
here.
of the day, it's I don't understand, why is it that we can't ask questions? And maybe if they didn't attack, and maybe if they started talking about why they want to influence and what they're actually doing, but instead it's just like this like mystery that all of these citizen journalists and people are just going down rabbit holes. It's not because we want to. And all of us have a lot better things to do, and we'd all rather be talking about something else.
Yeah. Jay, what do you think?
I mean, for me, the bigger thing is the DOJ, right? For me, if we don't get that under control, and the foreign influence thing is a part of this too. But if we aren't willing to cross the Rubicon there, we are screwed, and we are screwed big time. President Trump is probably going to do jail time. I
agree.
If for real, and I don't think we're taking that seriously enough. And if the Pam Bondi is really holding the nation hostage right now, and so it's a turnoff for voters, right? We feel like a lot of voters feel disenfranchised. They feel let down that we are not doing the things that we and well, I guess it's a little over a year now, but like in 2024 that we said we were going to do everything that we were posting about, everything that we were helping Trump campaign about, everything that he was saying at the rallies and stuff like that. She is not doing them. And the thing is like there are people within the administration that are doing a fantastic job. Pete Hegseth is doing a fantastic
great.
job. Tom Homan is doing a fantastic job. Marco Rubio is doing a fantastic job, in my opinion. I was not a Marco Rubio fan. I think he's doing very well in that position. And, but the thing is like the most important one is the DOJ.
AG is the most important. You're right. AG is the most important.
Yeah, and it's gonna screw us in 2026. And I brought this up several times, and people get mad at me or whatever. People that are Trump connected, they get furious with me. But it's like it's hard to look away. It is hard for me to ignore the fact that President Trump is gonna be like a year from now, he is gonna be facing an impeachment, right? It's gonna happen unless we get that DOJ piece under control. And so it's all for naught if we don't get that moving in the right direction. And I just don't see her budging on this at all. I think the best play that we have right now, because we've wasted an entire year doing absolutely nothing, is a recess appointment to try and get somebody in there quick for at least a year and trying to, get some of this stuff under control. At least punish them with the process. Crossfire Hurricane, whatever. Like there's so many things that you can talk about where they were really gonna put President Trump in jail for things that were completely fabricated. And so unless we get that under control, we are screwed big time. And so that's my concern. I don't know what I can do to motivate conservatives if that doesn't happen, to get out the vote, because a lot of them aren't going to. And we saw that in the election here in past year in Georgia, during the primary. Granted, it's an off-cycle election or whatever, but like the primary for that was less than 2%, Democrat and Republican, less than 2%. Remember all the get involved locally that everybody was talking about, and I became a delegate and a precinct chair or whatever. I tried to get involved or whatever, and nobody really took it seriously. They think that President Trump was going to save us and take care of everything, and they're just not being realistic about it. We need to keep the pressure on. We're not out of the weeds by any means, and this gets really bad if we lose in 2026 and 2028. It gets really bad really fast.
I'm telling you, a lot of people did leave MAGA because of the Israel issue too. I mean, I'm telling you, I know friends of mine who used to be really gung-ho, like Matt Kim. He's also one of the influencers. Now he's not on the MAGA train anymore because of the Israel issue. And I think it hurt us last year, like the election in Virginia,
absolutely,
New York, and especially Miami. Miami, for the first time in 28 years, the Democrat won the city of Miami. And 4 years ago, prior to that, I think the Republican candidate won by 69 percentage points. So it's a huge swing. We lost by 20 percentage points in Miami.
Speaking of Miami, Florida governor's race is a big race, right? We have
Byron
one of the candidate. Yeah, well, I was gonna say Byron Donalds. One of the other candidates is Jay Fishback, right? And he's a younger 31-year-old. He was just on Tucker. He does not like Israel. He's very much Florida first. His positions are really interesting, and I see people like the quote unquote Groypers, like the Nick
Groypers,
group. I see the Candace Owens group seeing that. And I see a lot. He actually pooled. I saw some of his events, and I talked to people on the ground there, and they said there's a lot. He's from Florida, and he's talking about the citrus, and he's talking about bringing actual jobs. He's like, I don't care about data centers. That's just going to take jobs. It's not really going to help certain things. He's really owning in on that Florida first part. And I will say this, we are going to see 2026 is very close, and I think it will affect us, but definitely in the 2028 election, it is going to affect us. If we do not find out and we don't find a way to bring the Nick Fuentes group, the Candace Owens group in with us again, we are going to lose them because
that's what I think.
That group, after Charlie Kirk died, and the New York Magazine came out and said that Nick Fuentes is the new Charlie Kirk. When there was all these different talks on who's going to take the place, a lot of the media said, and if you go look, I mean, his numbers have grown tremendously. Tucker's starting to put him on, different people are platforming him. Do I agree with anything and everything he says? Absolutely not. I'm definitely not endorsing Nick Fuentes right now. But I'm saying that there is a young male white voter that we are going to lose if the mega base just continues to attack Nick Fuentes. That same base is also who attacks Candace Owens.
And Nick Fuentes, I've been listening to his show, not every day, but because he comes out on YouTube. A lot of people would commentate about what he talks about, and believe me, he talks a lot of insightful things, a lot of horrendous things too, but a lot of insightful things too that many people don't talk about. And he was talking about the legacy media conservatives. Hey, you guys are multimillionaires, like people like the ones that we see on Fox News or on the networks. But
that's why I think Trey would be a nightmare.
He even attacked Megyn Kelly. Hey, you have like tens of millions of dollars. I think she has like 50, 70 million, assets, but you don't understand what I'm going through. And when he talks like that, I'm completely with him.
Yeah.
I completely understand it. What they're going on. And they're tired of the BS. They're tired about tiptoeing around Israel. And I think that's the reason why he says I love Hitler, to rise them up. I don't know whether he really loves them or not. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he's gaslighting because he knows the real important issues are not those. He wants America to be great. And I think what I understand is Nick Fuentes didn't even vote for Trump in 2020 and 2024 too. So it's a huge issue. And I think that is one of the main reasons why we lost so much last year. And it was an alarming sign. I didn't know that we would lose that much. I was shocked. I was really shocked. The percentage points, it really does matter how you lose.
Yeah.
The way that we lost, it was a shocking. It was like, we were just KO'd. And I was asking myself, do we have time to recover from this, within 1 year? When you have the MAGA base, a lot of people leaving or having doubts about the Israel angle, a lot of people are having doubts. They talk about Charlie Kirk assassination. All my friends talk about it. They don't think that it was Tyler Robinson. Many of my friends, and they were hardcore Trump supporters, and they all think that some kind of entity is behind it. And Charlie Kirk messaged it. One of the reasons why Candace Owens became #1 in the world is not because we agree with her 100%, but she was the one who exposed all these text messages that Charlie Kirk was having doubts, that he was worried that he might be assassinated the day prior, right?
Yeah.
And Erica Kirk acting all weird, and the people like Tyler Boyer and Cabot Phillips being her ex-boyfriend. I didn't know that, and then all these stories being uncovered, her having an Israel angle.
Her dad,
yeah, her mom having contracts with DOD.
Her dad has, his
Raytheon
started Raytheon in Israel. That's
so, of course, obviously, everybody's gonna have questions.
And it's crazy because none of this came out prior, obviously, till now. And again, this just shows like this media has changed. You're not going to be able to get away with things that you maybe could have gotten away with because legacy media probably wouldn't have platformed any of this, right? And so, yeah, it's an interesting take. And I look at what Tucker did, and Tucker, instead of following the same over and over again Charlie Kirk people and the turning point, he went down the route of let's bring back Butler. And he brought back up
even that one
Butler. And I look at Butler and I'm like, nobody's paid it. There's no accountability there. This kid did not act alone. He was in BlackRock video. Like, how many kids are in CIA videos and in BlackRock videos?
It just doesn't make sense.
Like, it doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. Like, you're not going to make me believe that kid who is not, he doesn't look like somebody that would be in a BlackRock video. You're not going to make me believe that he also decided to crawl up on a roof and get away with shooting the president.
Right, you're right.
And was using tradecraft too, like. So like somebody taught him that. Like he didn't just learn that on his own. He didn't learn that playing Call of Duty. Like there was some real tradecraft there. So
And people were screaming, right? Look at, I mean, that guy's on the roof. And then you have the Secret Service. And yesterday, I think James O'Keefe came out with a piece where you had a Secret Service member, uh, Secret Service details for JD Vance.
Yeah.
And he was very anti JD Vance. And you have all these anti. So I know somebody who works in the White House. I wouldn't want to name him, but he even told me, he told, so I had recently lunch with him, and he told me that you don't know how much the people working at the White House hates Trump. You know, I mean, you're talking about these these members who just, you know, print machines and stuff like that, print papers. So one occasion he told me about was they wanted to change the printer because it was out of order. It took a full week, because that's how much they want to slow down the process of the Trump agenda. That's what I heard. And also on the Secretary of State side, you know, Morris Tan, he was an ambassador for international affairs during the Trump administration first term. He's a Korean American, so I'm friends with him, and he told me that every single person there, they hate Trump. So I'm like, I mean, when I hear these stories, like especially you know, the Butler issue too, I'm wondering whether, even though President Trump is a president, that there's some kind of like a more powerful force behind, you know, that's dictating the nation.
Yeah. Well, there's people that, from what I know on the Butler stuff, was a lot of people knew that Iran wanted him dead. There's been attempts on his life from Iran. But that's also where people started questioning Mossad. Like, is this a false flag? Like, did Mossad have anything to do with this? Then you add in BlackRock and the connection to BlackRock, Larry Fink is real. Listen, the hard part is I don't want to look like a conspiracy theorist. Because I'm just connecting dots at the end of the day. And that's the sad thing is Trump, you know, whether it be Kash Patel, Bondi, any of these people, the American people are not stupid. We know how to connect dots.
Right.
We see the common, like there's all these games that you play when you're in kindergarten. Like, what's the common denominator here? There's always this common denominator.
You're right.
And I think that I'm not sitting here saying these people are bad and these people are good, but we need to get to the bottom of what is taking place, because I am afraid that if we don't replace the DOJ, the AG, and we continue down this road, people like you, me, and Jay could get targeted. I've been targeted already. A lot of my friends.
Me too. I mean,
it's scary.
You know, Matt Blumenthal, independent journalist Matt Blumenthal, you know, he did a piece, I think last year, that it pretty much says that President Trump is very scared of Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu, that he's afraid of being assassinated by them. Pretty much, I think that was the content of his article, and that they're wiretapping the White House and stuff like that. I don't know whether you... And I'm wondering, probably President Trump is scared sometimes. Sometimes I'm wondering that probably President Trump is also doing this for his own protection, because he also has his family. So at this point, he's fully on. He got, what, hundreds of millions of dollars by Marilyn Adelson,
well,
right?
In every big briefing at the White House, like cameras turn and you see her sitting back in this chair, and you're just like,
so she's always there.
She's always there. And
wow.
They talk about this too, you know. They talked about how many times Epstein visited the White House during Bill Clinton. They brought that up yesterday when Bill Clinton decided not to show up for the House Oversight Committee. But then I'm curious, how many times are we going to let Netanyahu visit the White House?
Yeah,
it's a great question. I mean, I've never seen it. You know, I first became familiar with Netanyahu and his son because a lot of friends of mine, like young conservative women who are in politics, they're friends with his son and grandson. So it's like, it's weird. It gets weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, Jay, you talked about Crossfire Hurricane, right? That angers me the most. In all honesty, the Crossfire Hurricane angle angers me the most. And, you know, I put a lot of hope, especially my viewers put a lot of hope on John Durham, Special Counsel John Durham. Nothing came out, you know?
Yeah.
All the people got scot-free. They were tried, like Michael Sussman, right? The Hillary Clinton campaign lawyer. He got not guilty verdict. He was acquitted. And also another guy, Igor Danchenko, he's a Russian spy. He got acquitted too. So this whole Russia collusion thing, I think FBI, CIA, all these 17 intelligence, I think they were all involved in my view. Obama was involved, Hillary was involved, they were all there. But the only guy who got guilty was Kevin Kleinsmith, the lawyer, who admitted that he fabricated the document because I think they wanted to wiretap what's his name? I forgot his name. I can remember his face, but the Russia Trump campaign hired a foreign relations expert, Carter Page. Carter Page. Yeah. So he lied about Carter Page. Carter Page did work for CIA. So supposedly, if he did work for CIA in his past, then he's supposed to be like a patriot, right? But he lied about that fact, and then he admitted to that lie, and he went to jail for like 6 months. But other than Kevin Kleinsmith, there's nothing. And I don't know, Jay, do you still have hope?
I mean, it's I laid out what has to happen because Pam Bondi is not going to do it, and so if we don't do something quick, I mean, like I said, we've already wasted an entire year doing that, and so you get the people that are saying, oh, that we have to do this correct or whatever, we have to do it, make sure it's right, we dot all the I's and cross the T's or whatever. And the thing is like the Democrats are going to show us how wrong we are, because as soon as they take back power, they are going to come after people relentlessly, and you're going to see people rearrested. You're going to see influencers that are in a lot of trouble, that are going to get ruined, and a lot of different things are going to happen very quickly. And so that's why this is so critical. It's going to come at us fast, and things are going to get ugly if that does happen. And I see that's the only way I see this playing out.
That's what I worry about the most, because we are divided in a way, because of the Israel angle and the Epstein and Charlie Kirk issue, and it showed on last election cycle. I want all of us to be mature enough to put our differences aside and vote for Republicans come November. But I feel at this point, a lot of people, they wouldn't vote for Democrats. So my friends, who kind of lost interest in the MAGA movement, they would never vote for Democrats. But the problem is they wouldn't even go out to vote. I think that's the problem.
Automatically have low voter turnout across the country. Just so you know, it's a low turnout always. Republicans, the number one way a Republican can win is with name ID. If you want to win an election as a Republican, you have to have name ID, because that person that goes out to vote, it's like Trump. That's why Trump wins with flying colors, right? Because at the end of the day, Trump is what carried all these people to go to the polls. We saw an incredible turnout. Midterms, we're not going to see that because Trump is not on the ballot. He's just not. You have to make sure, if you're a congressional candidate, it doesn't matter where you are, governor, gubernatorial race, whatever it is, you have to have name ID. And ultimately, our base is so divided, we're going to see low turnout.
I know, I worry about that.
And have it divided, and too many races are just completely, they're packed. We've got, instead of where we usually have one or two candidates, we've got three getting in and really dividing. And I know there will be probably quite a few races that are going to have multiple Republicans in it because of these divides in our party, where typically they officially drop out and then endorse one another.
But they don't.
We're not going to see that come 2026. We're not.
I worry about that. I really worry about that.
I just want to say thank you for everybody that's watching too. We got almost 11,000 people watching right now.
Wow.
So we're the number one live on X, and Mario Nawfal is the next biggest space behind us. So
wow.
he's got
That's
6.
great news.
Yeah. So appreciate everybody watching.
I mean, so there are people who are saying that even Candace Owens is like a psyop, trying to divide the MAGA movement, like Tucker too. And then there's some point to that, because what I think is, okay, Trump is super pro-Israel, and I think it's a given. He's not going to change course. So I think we have to see other issues. Okay, probably he might be weak on the Israel issue, but he's very strong on the border and law enforcement. I would say like 95% of the things that he's doing is good, in my view. And Israel, even with Israel, they built up their lobby power. Like AIPAC is not registered as a FARA, right? They built up, they put so much effort on lobbying America, and you can't undo this within a year. Within like, how many months do we have left? You can't undo this. So I really wish that people can be mature enough to see that angle, that it takes time. I think it's a good thing that we have dialogue about the Israel angle, but we can't just suddenly undo everything what Israel government has done to America as well. You know, it takes time. It takes
And I'm
effort.
not asking for people to come out and hate. And I want to make this clear. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want people to just come out and like hate APAC, hate the influencers that speak on it, hate Israel. That's not my agenda. The only thing I am is I'm going to defend certain people that have been called out and, you know, suppressed and embarrassed and humiliated for doxxed for no reason because they took some position after Charlie Kirk was killed, or because there's this common denominator when all these things keep happening. And I just, you know, we talk about January 6th. Last week I had a J6er call me. He got into the hearing and they have a rearrest. They have their rhetoric has toned up. He's like, they have a whole rearrest list already. And then today, again, who's Liz Cheney, who heads this committee, they had a J6 meeting. And again, Ray Epps, who is in the FBI, is not brought up. Why did Kash Patel not gotten to the bottom of Ray Epps? Like, if you want to talk, like J6, I would have been proud of Kash Patel if he would have came out and said, I'm going to host we're going to have a press conference and let's talk about J6. Let's talk about, all he wants to say is we know that FBI infiltrated. That says nothing. There are people, Owen Schroyer is a great example. There are people on the ground that did not deserve to be arrested, put in jail, have lawyer fees. They're, you know, a name stain for the rest of their life, whether, you know, they were pardoned or not. It's horrible. And then we're going to just let the FBI not bring up the fact that Ray Epps is a huge issue. I think we've got some explaining to do. Why is he not being investigated?
I mean, so that's the exact reason why I feel that there's some kind of like superpower force that's behind all this. Because we talked about all this. Kash Patel talked about it all the time. Wasn't he on the forefront about talking about the Jan 6 issue? And I think even the Trump-Russia collusion thing, it was Kash Patel who exposed a lot of things. I interviewed him years ago at a CPAC event. So I just don't understand why once you go in, they don't take action, because we know that the left does take action. That's why a lot of Jan 6ers went to jail, right? They do. We know that they're not playing around.
The next day, the next week, J6ers were round up and arrested. Like, if they weren't arrested there, when they found, you know, these faces on the cameras, people were arrested right away. And that's crazy to me that we're not doing anything. And if Kash Patel says the FBI has been doing all these things, he has not been great. They need to hire a publicist to talk about all the positive things the FBI has done, because I don't think the FBI has really showed what they've done. And again, just like the DOJ, Pam Bondi's like, oh, there's all these indictments and investigations in the Somali, you know, fraud. Those investigations and indictments, which Jay and I have touched on other shows together, they were already there. Somebody else had already indicted them, and it's already happened. And at the end of the day, if we don't see somebody with a name ID, with real, that has a real weight behind their name, if we don't see them investigated, them indicted, them arrested, then nothing Kash Patel or Pam Bondi does is going to matter. They fail.
I mean, probably that's why Dan Bongino left, you think? I think probably he felt that there's some kind of limit and he had to be quiet about some issues, you know, and I just...
Dan Bongino looked scared out of his mind. Go back and look at all the interviews he's done when he was in the FBI, or in this term. Mm-hmm. He looked scared out of his mind. Where Dan used to talk and have all this, you know, he would come out hitting and swinging. No, I think Dan Bongino looked scared out of his mind when he was interviewed with Kash Patel the last few months.
Yeah.
And then I think a part of me does not believe he's not off the payroll. A part of me truly believes that he was sent back to fight the information war.
That's what many people say, right? That's what people have been saying.
Well, he's come out so hard. Why does he come? Everybody, including myself, liked Bongino. I watched him all the time. A lot of people liked Bongino. So I don't understand why he came out swinging so hard. He came out swinging so hard for pro-Israel. Do you need that money? I'm confused.
No, I think at this point, probably Dan Bongino really regrets going to the FBI in the first place. Probably he could have, kept his... I don't know. I always had a good feeling about him, but after the Epstein thing, I think he lost a lot of supporters. I would say he lost a lot of supporters, and does I have a question? Did Pam Bondi get a lot of money from APAC in her career? Oh,
Yeah.
she did.
Mm-hmm.
So you think there's an
I
angle
can
to
pull
that
it up
too?
now. Yeah. Well, also you have to remember Pam Bondi was AG of Florida, and she allowed Epstein out of jail to go home or to work.
Wow.
So a part of me truly believes. Now, I don't know if you know this, and I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but Ludwig was Epstein's neighbor. Ludwig.
So,
Howard Lutnick?
so
Yeah.
I'm not coming out in favor of Pam Bondi, but the Epstein thing was pre Pam Bondi as
Yeah,
AG.
yeah.
So
But you said Howard Lutnick was her neighbor? Was Epstein's neighbor?
Yes. Yeah.
the because that when that happened, that was 2008, I believe, when they were allowing him to go home.
No, she let Pam Bondi Epstein. There's a whole file I read on it. I'll pull it up.
I could be mistaken.
So
but I'm pretty sure it was in 2008,
okay,
which was pre
so
Pam Bondi.
okay, so
But bottom line is there's a lot of names that are close to the president that are all revolve around this. I don't think that all of them are guilty of X, Y, and Z. But the
no,
problem,
even Michael Jackson came out. So, and we know that Michael Jackson and Chris Tucker doesn't mean that they were involved in the.
right?
Yeah, I probably Michael Jackson was a bad example for me to say, but yeah, just because you have photos with him doesn't mean that you did all those heinous things at Epstein Island. I do think that we have to put it out there. But okay, hypothetically, if they do have something on President Trump, but President Trump is such a great leader, do you think we should stop talking about it?
Well, I mean, I think it's important to talk critically about the things that are happening, the things that we're happy with, the things that we aren't happy with. I think that's what makes things better. Is if they don't know there's a problem, then you can't fix it, right? And so, but the thing is, and Madeline's talked a lot about this, is him being insulated from what we're actually saying. In a lot of ways, he's being insulated from what the MAGA base wants him to hear, and so he's not hearing the things that he needs to hear.
Yeah,
he's surrounded by donors. A lot of the Trump administration cabinet, the people working in the White House, they were put there by donors. It's very clear. There's a lot of people that will not tell him no. I don't agree with. I know Susie Wiles and I have a long history. I think she's amazing at political theater. She's for somebody in PR. If you want to study somebody who's had quite a career, she's a great person to study and how she's done things. But she ran Netanyahu's campaign in 2020, and she's worked for lobbyists that I don't agree with. And Tom Blanche, he worked for Obama, and now he's works with Pam Bondi. I think a lot of things let's talk about that. You want to know why Obama's not being investigated? You want to know that Todd Blanche apparently is like the godfather for Adam Schiff's kids, or Adam Schiff is the godfather for one of Todd Blanche's kids. Wow. And we think that could have to do with why he's not being indicted. At the end of the day, why is Todd Blanche, who is that close to Obama? Because Trump hired him for one of his criminal investigations in New York, I believe. And that's how he got his way into the White House and into this cabinet. But again, there's a lot of people that I don't trust and that Trump is relying on. And at the end of the day, I think we're going to really regret leaving Bondi in this seat. And now it's not just the American people calling for it. It's the oversight committee saying it. You've got different House members saying it. You got senators saying it. The evidence is black and white. Trump himself has said he wants Pam Bondi. He's posted on Truth Social many times. Why is Schiff not indicted? Why are these people not, indicted? And it's crazy. I don't understand why he hasn't fired her, especially knowing Bill Barr was such a detriment to his last term.
Right. And 2 days ago, Wall Street Journal had a front page story about Pam Bondi, that Trump is very unsatisfied with Pam Bondi, and that he might let her go. And so I would think that he would fire her. So, but you were saying that Trey Gowdy. Do you think Trey Gowdy is not a good replacement? You think he's not? Why?
I'm a Fox News. I've been a Fox News contributor. I've been a contributor to mainstream media, and I can tell you we're owned. And Trey having such a background, he's so nice, great guy, But
Mhm.
I also think him having connections to the mainstream media, and if he would ever want to go back to it,
Oh,
he's not
okay.
going to go down certain routes either that people are going to want. You know, he's been, everybody can say they're going to do a certain job until the cameras are on them and until it's, you know, would be out there. He would never be able to return to Fox if he went forward and indicted or opened up the Epstein files. He would never be allowed to return to Fox. That's a problem.
Yeah, you're
I
right.
believe Pam Bondi, that's a thing she wants. I think her next job, you know, she's been on commenting on Fox News every day. She's there on Fox at least once a week. She's on
Yeah.
Fox. So I think, you know, if she wants a job on Fox, she hasn't pissed anyone off. Go get your job on Fox and let somebody who doesn't want to go be a part of that mainstream media, that kind of money, the corporate lobbyist, go be a part of that. But like, we need somebody who is not afraid to attack, because at the end of the day, the American people deserve answers. We deserve to see justice for everything we've been put through over the last, I don't know, decade.
So somebody who's not polluted, who's not influenced already. And you know
Correct.
what? You know, I think a lot of people supported President Trump back in 2016 presidential cycle because he talked about, I'm not being controlled by the donors. And actually he put his own dough, like $63 million of his own money the first time around. And then people donated to him, the big donors, because they agreed with him, at least on paper. So even I would think that even though he would get a lot of money from APAC or like Marion Adelson or whoever, that he would still follow his path, what he wants to do. But
Well,
I think, yeah,
well, sorry. The thing is too is like, realistically, who can you get in that spot, right? The Senate is never going to confirm like a good like the person that we need in that position. So that's why we're stuck with Pam Bondi, right? They're going to get their person, right? Mike Johnson is another great example, right? We didn't like there was like way better candidates to be in as Speaker of the House, but we're never going to get the one that we want. And the thing is like, that's why I think President Trump is going to have to do it by a recess appointment. Like if you put somebody
yeah,
who's going to go in there and shake things up, you're going to have to do it by a recess appointment because
hmm,
the Senate is never going to confirm that person.
you're right. So it should be somebody that probably we might not even know, right? Not somebody famous, right? The next AG. I do think Pam Bondi's, gonna go. I think that's if you read the Wall Street Journal piece, I think it pretty much implies that Trump is very unhappy with her. And yeah, regarding the Butler issue and also the Crossfire hurricane, I mean, nothing has been done actually, right? Other than his policy is great, right? The policy is, A plus, but we want retribution. Because so many conservatives suffered, including me and you, Madeline, and also Jay, Justin. We all suffered. So there needs to be some kind of repercussion time. I mean, we want some revenge. Okay, let's be honest. We don't want some revenge. Really. I thought Trump was all about revenge.
The bottom line too is this: there's one thing that really brings both the left and the right together. APAC is the number one pack. If you go look, they donate to the left
Yep,
and the
yep.
right. You will never find a pack that does both.
80%, right?
Yes.
Of the
Okay.
politicians.
Correct. And so what I'm going to say is that Bondi's a part of that whole thing as
Yep.
well. And I look at this and I say, well, maybe the question of the matter is, moving into midterms, we need to ask ourselves, how can we unite? Because at the end of the day, I'm seeing both sides we're looking more like a uniparty, because if Trump and Kash Patel and all of this administration, if this is what transparency looks like, then there is a uniparty. I already know Chuck Schumer and Mike Johnson are like this. I don't care.
Oh, are they? I didn't know.
Yeah. Like, I know that like there are certain relationships in the house that there's like this theater that people don't like each other. That is such BS. It's not true. Actually, there's more feuds within like Republicans not liking other Republicans and Democrats not liking other Democrats than there actually are where they don't like each other. You just see the sound bites of when they talk about it. And so, yeah, I think we have, if they don't really if we don't get an AG in here, I think it's going to look like a uniparty. And I also think we're going to really start to push a certain group of people. It's going to look, they want to talk about, this Hitler and all this. That's crazy. But you're going to see a nationalist movement really start to form, I think, together, because you're going to see this uniparty. Everyone's going to feel like it's a uniparty. If we can't beat it, if we have the House, the Senate, and the White House, and we cannot get anything done,
Right.
can't get any indictments done, and at the end of the day, everybody circles back to the same group of people, then we're going to start looking at everything like a uniparty, and you're going to have the American voters just get exhausted. And while they're fighting each other, they're also going to start to really raise questions about what we're doing. And all the American people keep hearing too is we're going to spend money here and rebuild here. We're going to spend money overseas here. Trillions of dollars have gone out to Ukraine. Why? And now if we go to the World Economic Forum, he's talking about raising $800 billion in private, sector and businesses to, sign and help give protection to Zelensky. Why would we send another $800 billion over there? Yeah. JD Vance just went on Sean Ryan and said to Sean Ryan that we kind of left Taiwan in a crappy position. His words exactly, crappy position, because Taiwan now, we don't have the arms to give them if China were to invade, because we gave them all to Ukraine. And this was only a few days ago.
He just flat out said that, huh?
He just flat out said it. And I don't say the word crappy. That's why I say quote unquote. It was like a crappy. He said, we left Taiwan in a crappy position. And to me, I think that speaks volumes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a, Jay, Justin, and Madeline, I think it's a healthy process. It's good for us to have this. We never talked about these issues. Israel issue, I never talked about it with other conservatives, right? Because we were always on the same page. But I think it's something that we discovered as we were going. And I think Charlie Kirk himself was doubting a lot of things. And Tucker too. I think Tucker, one of the reason I think he is starting to dig up this Israel angle is because he was fired by Fox News too. And I think it became personal to him.
Well, they're coming after him pretty hard.
They are.
They said if he went on turning, not to allow him talk at the Turning Point events. I mean, they've really tried to blacklist Tucker.
Mm-hmm. And I think
so why?
And that's the reason why Charlie pushed back. And I think Charlie even wanted to bring Candace back. And I think that was genuine. I think he wasn't even joking around when he, in that chat group that they had, back and forth. And I think he got so sick and tired of being controlled. And if Israel controls, AIPAC controls Turning Point USA to that extent, it's not a stretch how much control they have, probably over White House, the Senate. And I don't know. I thought even if they are, controlling, I thought they would still be on Trump's side and try to dig up these truths, but dig up all the.
There's only.
You think Israel doesn't want to go after the Crossfire Hurricane people, Jan 6, or all these deep state stuff?
I think they are. I think to be honest, I think if you were to drain the swamp, where you would find the two parties align is in Israel, is with that money. I think there's a lot of money, and I think industrial complex alone, Israel tends to play a big role in it, I think, because of all the wars in the Middle East. And truthfully, I believe we will never see peace in the Middle East. No matter how much money we spend over there, no matter what we do, there's always going to be something that takes place in the Middle East. And, that's my position on the Middle East. There's never going to be true peace. And as long as Netanyahu's running Israel, I think he wants war. He wants to take over, and I do have issues. Like, Israel was not always a place. Palestine was a place. They don't like to acknowledge the Bible either. That's another issue.
Yep. I understand.
Adelson was not from Israel. If you look back on her birth records and you do her number, she's actually from Palestine.
And a lot of them have like 2-3 names and stuff. Like Bibi Netanyahu, what I understand is that wasn't his real name, his born name as well. And I mean, I think it's a very important issue, but I worry that this kind of division isn't it still better for the Republican, at least, Republicans to win than the Democrats, at least? Yeah. So I think the bottom line, we have to think about the bottom line. Okay, I understand the Israel angle, and you have people having doubts about the Charlie Kirk assassination and also the Epstein, Jan 6, Crossfire Hurricane, all this stuff. But at least we need to have this discussion continuing while the Republicans have, and the lead is too slim. I think it should be wider. And I worry every day. I
I
feel like the more talk we have about this, I feel like there are people who are more discouraged to,
we are losing
yeah,
voters every day,
to join,
and
because the more you talk about it, the more you doubt the system, right?
yeah, and
Yeah.
like I said, I'm just like you said, the mega base never wanted to hate Israel. That was never in
No,
my mind. Did
no,
I ever?
never thought about it. No.
No, and living in LA as long as I have, and having so many friends,
Yeah.
like, you know, I've been to Shabbat, like I've been to different
Mm-hmm.
like things over there. It's unfortunate, really. And I have Persian friends. I don't know what to say, but what I do think it is it's important for voices like mine, yours, that are not, we don't hate either side of this,
No.
but we do raise questions, because I know we don't, it's not always great. We don't get great feedback when we do it. We lose people. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of people who want to know the answers. Why are these people trying to suppress half of the mega base? Why do they want to suppress Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens? I mean, like, the list is just getting longer
You're
and
right.
longer and longer.
You're right.
And now you're seeing these younger influencers that are like on Instagram and TikTok. I would go out, you would see big groups of us, right? And people would all know each other and hang out. Now they don't publicly hang out anymore, because if you're not, there's a pro-Israel influencer group, and I can tell you how, especially in LA, I know exactly who they are. And then there's a non-pro-Israel, or the ones that are not all on board to be, you know, you could support all their content, but they will not support yours.
Is it because of the Talmud? Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro. When you listen to their, because I've been listening to them a lot. I mean, not Ben Shapiro, but I did listen to Mark Levin a lot, and it seems like how dare you even doubt Israel? You know, they have this kind of attitude about everything what Israel do is very holy. You can't even doubt it. And the impression I get is they almost look at,
it's bizarre. People going over and kissing. I'm sorry. You're like, people going over somewhere and kissing a wall and telling me it's bizarre to like have doubts and question a foreign country. Why? That foreign country, they have free college, you know, for all of their, all of the people that live in Israel. You can go to college for free. Healthcare, free. Why are they a welfare state? They're pouring money into all these races. Why are they a welfare state? Why do we keep investing in them?
They have health insurance, right?
Yep.
Every single one of them, and we pay for that. I know. Correct. We pay for that. Yes. So that angers people, of course. And if you listen to Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro, they're saying, how dare you get angry about that? So they treat us like second-class citizens. And I think that's where this anger is going.
Well, and it is more of the media being bought by that, like TikTok. Certain people are wanting to suppress certain influencers and different stories. And I have an issue with that, because we are supposed to be a freedom of speech party.
Right.
We're supposed to, all of us have been suppressed enough. Why are we suppressing people in our own party? If that's a problem.
Well, apparently, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people have a hard time separating the two things that you guys just mentioned too, right? Like, I don't want to fund another country's college fund. I don't want to fund another country's healthcare. Like, I don't want to be pouring money into that too. But the other piece is too, like, I've been to Israel. I've been to the countries surrounding Israel, and I don't want them to annihilate Israel. Israel is actually a really nice place. People are very nice. It's and the thing is the surrounding countries, Syria, like, they are not nice. But Iran is not a nice place. The places that I spent years of my life over there, like, these are very bad people. And so in terms of that, like, I want Israel to succeed over there, because it's one of the only nice places over there. The other one is Kurdistan.
Yeah. It's the only democratic nation in the Middle East, so to speak, right? And I think that's why many of us did. I mean, I was super pro-Israel, okay? So the church, Pentecostal churches, I think the Bible Belt are very pro-Israel. The eschatology, the end time, it goes there, and we are taught, like, you have to bless Israel to be blessed. Like what even Ted Cruz said, months ago. And But now a lot of people are saying, okay, we can bless the nation Israel, and it's prophetic for the nation to disappear and come back in 2,000 years later. But it doesn't mean that the government is always acting holy, and they don't even believe in Jesus, right? I mean, in all honesty, so it's not a Christian nation. So I think many people are doubting. I think questioning Israel government is it's
I think October 7th is kind of weird. I question it. Like, Israel, for them to say that a part of me finds it odd that the Gaza, they were able to invade Israel and go through. Obviously, October 7th happened. It's extremely sad. Yeah. I just don't know if it was how did the Israeli government not know? Because I can tell you the borders are very clear in Israel. I have people on the ground that have made it very clear, like it would be near impossible for this to happen and the government not know. I mean, I have a really hard time believing this. I think this all leads into October 7th. It could possibly very much have been. I think the Israeli government knew about it. And I'm sorry, but I think it would, because it's so horrible and how bad it is. And we'll never know because it's not our country and it's something that people don't want to talk about. And if that's true, that's really sad. And I don't want to say either way, but I do raise question on October 7th being actually a real thing.
And that's exactly the question that even Charlie Kirk himself raised. But, even though that might have been a plan, I do think the intention itself by the Hamas trying to attack those, innocent Jews were evil. So even though that might have been a concocted plan or like a big plan, still the evil thing was done by Hamas. So we shouldn't forget about that. And I think that part.
It reminds me of January 6th. It reminds me. I think the FBI knew that we were going to plan. Trump said we want peaceful protest. It was announced. And then the FBI decided to infiltrate.
They wanted them to be aggressive, right?
Correct. And so, again, I think this is happening all over. CIA was on the ground as well. Why was CIA, who's international, not supposed to work on the ground here? Why were they a part of J6? I think there's a lot of questions. And the problem is, as long as we have Pam Bondi and Kash Patel not doing their job,
it goes back to that.
It goes back okay, fine. You want me to get off Israel? I'll get off the topic of Israel, but then let me see AG Bondi do her job. Or let me see you guys actually raise questions and bring some justice. Because if not, what's going to happen is people like myself and you are going to continue going down these rabbit holes and trying to get to the bottom of it ourselves instead of the law.
So Madeline J., do you both think that somehow Israel is also behind all this? The Crossfire Hurricane, the Jan 6, and all the stuff that we raise questions. Are they concocting? There are people who are doubting, that they have that much influence. If they have 80% of the, of the senators and congressmen in their pocket. I mean, just a question.
I don't think Israel was I can't say Israel was a part of J6. I think FBI was very much a part of J6.
That's what I'm saying.
I've now experienced bad FBI agents that are still at the FBI that are now trying to investigate my client who just brought black and white evidence against Schiff. I don't think it's all about Israel, but I just want to say that our party is divided because there's this common denominator behind big plays. And it's unfortunate.
How about you, Jay?
Well, I kind of have the same take that Madeline has. The one thing is I talked to Robert Malone on this stuff, and it's fifth gen warfare, right? We have a lot of different enemies in the world. You have terrorists, you have lobbyists, you have all these different interests, bad actors, whatever, politicians, even governors in America that are really destructive and want to help us to our demise. And the thing is they have this common enemy now. They have the Trump and the MAGA base that they're going to keep picking apart, and they're gonna force their agenda, and they all have this common enemy, and they're using they have this common enemy against us. And so that's why we're getting it from every different angle. And so if you put your eggs in one basket, like I know a lot of people are on the Israel thing or whatever, but China is also part,
You're right. Yeah, we shouldn't forget about that.
right. So there's all these different things. The cartels are another piece of this. They have this common enemy, and they're going to use everything they can against us, and they're going to use whatever alliance that they hold against us. And so for me to just see it as one thing or another, it's I can't do that, because I know that it's coming from all these different angles. And so if you miss one or the other or whatever, like you're really not, you're not being aware of your surroundings.
Yeah.
So some are far worse than others, right? There's different levels to this, right? I view all countries to some extent a bit of our enemy, right? They're always going to look out for their best interest in some way, right? But some are better friends than others.
Yeah.
And the thing is when you feel it like that, it's a lot easier to digest for me. It's because you have to be wary of everybody. And so for me right now, if we do not get this Department of Justice thing under control, we do not get some justice. I'm not looking for retribution. I'm looking for equal justice for people that legitimately broke the law and went outside the bounds and committed treason. We need to hold people accountable in some way, shape, or form. Regardless of whether they actually see prison time, you need to at least punish them with the process and make them answer for the things that they've done, and make them scared for the things that they've done. If you don't do that, then we are screwed.
So Justin, I'm completely with you on that. Like, it's not just Israel, it's about the CCP angle. We have to think about other issues too. But I do think that some influencers, like especially Candace, every single episode there's an Israel angle, almost. So I think she has the most influence, so to speak. So I worry about that it would dissipate Trump's MAGA movement. And
another thing too is, Madeline and I have talked about this on Angela's show. People, like, I've talked to teenagers, like I have 2 teenagers, right? They, if you talk to young kids or whatever, like who's the replacement for Charlie Kirk, a lot of them will say Nick Fuentes. And so these kids are gonna
they hated each other, right? Charlie and Nick, they hated each other, right?
Right. But the thing is like, if you discount Nick Fuentes' following, you're making a huge mistake. And what I want everybody's vote. I want liberal votes. I want conservative votes. I want every single vote. I want to win, right? If we're going to win, if we're going to exclude people, we're going to lose. We need to try and bring as many people on board. That's why we got Elon. That's why we got Tulsi. That's why we got RFK. That's why we got all these different people to come together for a common goal. And so if we're not looking at doing that, we are not going to. Trump is an anomaly. The GOP was completely flat-footed in the last election. Why? Because they think that they're popular. They're not popular with anybody. The only reason people showed up in 2024 was President Trump. So if we're expecting that kind of momentum going into 2026, 2028, we are completely clueless.
But also, they speak to the voter. Nick Fuentes is speaking to these young white men who have continued, a part of the tariff deal with China right now is 600,000 Chinese students are going to be allowed to come in and go to the state schools.
Trump okayed that.
Right. 200,000 could end up in Florida alone in state schools. That's 200,000 American female male students that won't get accepted or have to compete to get into their state schools. At the end of the day, the American, Gen Z, the millennial, they have been hurt. They can't buy, they're looking at things like, I can't buy a house. I can barely afford to move out of my parents' house. I'm going to school. I don't know if I'm even going to be able to get a job in this market, or with all the AI changes happening, it's all very unsure. The people like Nick Fuentes, they're also speaking to that voter.
Yeah.
And that voter, their message aligns more with the Nick Fuentes, rhetoric. And then you look at Mark Levin, they do not align with Mark Levin. No. And here's the truth of the matter. Mark Levin, the only real voter that aligns with Mark Levin, besides the very pro-Israel person, is the boomer. And the boomers are going to die very soon. Right. And you know what? If we keep pushing away all of these, voters and these different demographics, we're in trouble because that we're going to lose the hope of the future for our children.
It's almost like class warfare, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, the boomers are with the Mark Levins, but the young people, they're with Nick Fuentes. And it's a net negative for the Trump movement, I think. And
You have a better chance of a Gen Z or a millennial watching this podcast or coming onto your YouTube channel and watching your YouTube channel over watching Fox News. Most people don't have Fox News. I mean, there's only a certain group of core people that really have and watch Fox News. I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing. I'm just saying that we cannot keep discrediting these different demographics and these voters because they already feel unheard and we're just pushing them further that way. So when you have these really pro Israel groups or Mark Levin telling us how horrible we are for not backing certain things, you are just literally giving them reason to go follow this.
You're right. You're right. Like Megyn Kelly said that you're making anti-Semites, like Mark Levin, people like Mark Levin attacking Megyn Kelly, and like Nick, Ben Shapiro is making anti-Semites because since they are so pro-Israel, it kind of has the other reaction that they don't expect. And I mean, I wonder. So this is the question that I had internally, because you remember when we went through the COVID-19, you couldn't talk about how bad the vaccine is. I didn't get vaccinated, and it wasn't easy to live in LA not being vaccinated. So, I don't.
I know. I was pregnant and they told me I couldn't give birth at Cedars-Sinai and I had to go back to the Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area to give birth.
So, like if I even talk about my personal experience, I would get strike or, a yellow sticker on my YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? And if we talk about election integrity issue, they wouldn't let us allow it. So we had to tiptoe around. I had to change my words, my vocabularies to tiptoe around it. But I don't understand. Before, what I understand is you couldn't talk so freely about Israel before. I think they would have censored the heck out of you. But why is it suddenly all okay? So I'm wondering, is there like a purposeful division to make, to divide the Trump movement? Because we know that they all hate Trump, right? The legacy media, the left. So I was.
Well, the legacy media is predominantly owned by Jewish people now.
Yeah, but you're right. But I was wondering why all of a sudden this came out of the, like the whole dam just collapsed. And now everybody's talking about it. Every single person that I talk about, they want to talk about Israel, the conservatives.
Because I think transparency was on the ballot when Trump won this election. And I think, like we said, there's this common denominator that we cannot keep denying, whether it be Epstein, whether it be Charlie Kirk's murder, whether it be, this Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens war. And again, that brings up a whole new subject, the millennial, the Gen Zer. Where is that voter lie? It doesn't lie with the Mark Levin.
No, it doesn't.
So, I think, again, this goes back to transparency, not seeing accountability, and the voters feeling unheard. And as much as we love Trump and we support the MAGA wants to get behind Trump, the more this foreign country and this group of people keep trying to push us to do one thing, you're going to see people go the opposite way. And I think that's the reason that it's been brought up. I think, honestly, the Charlie Kirk, I think Candace Owens has grown. Her podcast became #1. She's always been huge. But I think her exposing the Charlie Kirk and really going down that line. I mean, Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly, they have a huge career and they really supported her on this. For them to come out and support her, I think it speaks volumes and it should really make people question, these are 3 huge voices for conservatives, 2 who come from legacy media. Why would they take and, why would they risk their reputation?
You're right.
If they really didn't believe what Candace was saying.
Yeah. I think Candace Owens wasn't #1 until Charlie Kirk died. And then everybody wanted to hear her opinion. And Charlie Kirk was raising all these issues. And almost, it's almost like it was his dying wish that he didn't want Turning Point USA to be this pro-Israel entity, right? Nonprofit organization. But isn't Erica Kirk kind of leading that to pro-Israel
a lot of people are talking about her, and she's a mother, she's a widow. The problem is, and I've said this before, Jay's probably heard me, you have to separate the mother and widow from a CEO and how she's moving. And in my opinion, like, I'm not saying she doesn't have nights where she cries herself to sleep. I'm sure she wishes this never happened. But at the end of the day, there's a lot that's come out on Erica Kirk. And I think the fact that Erica Kirk doesn't want to address any of it and they keep wanting to, like, you know, hide it, as a take PR advice here from me, the best thing you can do is own it. Because if you own it, nobody can use it against you.
You're right.
And Erica Kirk refuses to take accountability for certain things in her past or want to talk about, like, her experience. You're a CEO. Let's see your resume. Let's hear why you're in these CIA videos. It's weird.
At least she shouldn't have lied. She lied that before she met Charlie Kirk, that she didn't date for 5 years, that she didn't drink alcohol, but it was all there, you know, on the reality show. What was it, Summer House? They saw her drinking alcohol, and then she was dating people there, and she obviously dated Cabot Phillips, who was a friend of Charlie Kirk. So it's very, I don't know whether Charlie Kirk knew that Cabot Phillips had a relationship with Erica. And the funny thing is, prior to Charlie Kirk being assassinated, I heard that 3 months prior to that, Erica decided to erase all her record on the Instagram.
She did. Like, all of her Instagram was completely archived.
So that's also fishy as heck too. And I think, you know, it seems like she did work with CIA, right? And she did a briefing. It seems like she was pretty knowledgeable about all these weaponries. And I mean, probably because she learned it from her mom. And also, I don't know. I think so people are doubting that people are questioning she might have an Israel angle there as well, you know, and you know, I mean, Charlie, to be honest, many people are asking question whether she was behind, right? That flat out.
Charlie was the face of turning point, and this is the bottom line. If they don't start talking about the facts and taking some accountability, if Erica doesn't come out and really talk about who she is, her past, whatnot, I think we're going to see the numbers continue to dwindle from Turning Point. That's what I think. Mm-hmm. And we're going to see those turning away from Turning Point. And I think there's a lot of other great organizations that will pop up. In my opinion, Turning Point is getting their PR. Their PR people are compromised. Like, it's... Yep. And here's the thing, everybody in the, like, conservative movement knew, like, I had friends that would not go to certain parties in Florida after Turning Point, like, events, because everyone knew what went on there. So, like, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened with Matt Gaetz, but I'm sure it could have led into a Turning Point event, because there's a lot of weird shit that goes on in Turning Point.
That's what I heard.
This is not from Candace, by the way. This is, like, true life, like, I have group chat messages. I don't want to go back in and expose these people, but, like, I have friends that are in Congress, that have ran for Congress, that all live in Florida. And, like, all of us go to the Turning Point events. And I can tell you right now, like, this has been a known thing. And I'm not saying Charlie was never there. Like, Charlie always left. But all the people he surrounds himself with, they're very much in the thick of it. And they are compromised. And it's always been like this, like, you just don't talk about it. But maybe we should, because they're really not these godly people they say they are.
What I heard was there's a lot of, like, sex parties, like, happening afterwards and stuff like that, in all honesty.
Young girls, yeah. And, you know, there's a lot of young girls, unfortunately. And listen, it's everywhere. But yeah, I think that Erica can't keep denying the fact that people want answers. And you know what? I think pro-Israel people are hurting Erica Kirk, because they're the ones that are pushing people to dig more into Erica Kirk. And then I think the fact that Turning Point wants to continue to support this whole thing, it's just like, you are creating this big base to not like you. You're asking for us to.
You're right. I mean, she's going out of her way to, you know, to let people not like her. I mean, her behavior, and she immediately forgave Tyler Robinson, but she doesn't want to forgive Candace Owens to dig up the truth. You know, I mean, everybody, if I'm Erica, I would support it, you know, because she wants to find out the truth. And you know, Milo talked about it too. Milo Yiannopoulos, he talked about, I think, you know, like, Benny Johnson and certain figures were actually not as how they portray themselves. Do you think there's some truth to that? You know, because a lot of people talked about it.
Well, Madeline has to go at 7 here.
Oh, okay.
I have no comments on that, because I could go down a rabbit hole on that. here's the thing. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a past. And really it's how you operate today. But if you want to sit here and pretend that you don't have a past and you want to sit here and continue to lie when you have citizen journalists now that are on the ground and that are going to go digging, that's where we're going to see a real problem, because people are, and then what you're doing is honestly, Erica Kirk's been in the White House and giving Trump kiss and, hugging JD Vance and, all these optics, really, it makes Trump look bad because Trump loved Charlie and Don Jr. looked at him like a brother, right? Why are you really feeding this narrative? Trump, of all people, always said the mainstream media is lie. Like, the justice system's broken. How can why are they not coming out and fighting this? Why are they really wanting Tyler Robinson to be the answer for all of this? Because there's no way.
No.
Like there's a lot of people that were in the military that have come out and said this is not right. Like, there's no way this is the bullet. There's no way. Like, so many facts don't make sense. Now people are saying, like, nobody knows where he's buried. There's certain, where is the...
He's not buried, right?
I have no idea. I try, like, I start when the more time goes, the crazier it's starting to get. And the problem is, it's not that I don't want to know, but I also, the more you know, the more you talk about it. And then I'm guilty of just going down these roads that I just would rather somebody get to the bottom of it, because I don't want to be the person to just keep talking conspiracies, because conspiracies do hurt people.
Yeah, but conspiracy theory is a term developed by the CIA, so right. So I think I think if it's based on fact, it's conspiracy fact, right? Not conspiracy theory. Like, I mean, there are like legitimate nonsense conspiracy theories, but there are real based on fact conspiracies, and I think whatever the legacy media don't want to talk about somehow became a conspiracy theory. And Donald Trump Jr. himself even said that conspiracy theory is it will be turned out as fact 6 months later. So.
Well, I think that we have a huge issue. We have, we keep we can keep fighting with all these foreign countries. We're going to radicalize a lot of groups of people. And if we don't come together as under one nation and really find a way to get stronger as a nation, then we're going to lose, because we are losing the information battle. And I do fear for our country. I fear for if Democrats come in and open borders, because I think Muslims are going to just come right through. I think we're going to have a lot of radical groups of people. And, even if you're not letting terrorists in, you're letting all these people that have been hurt by different actions we take, you're letting their brothers and sisters and their cousins come in, and they're not as happy with us as you think they are. So, like, it just takes one thing for them to just then fall in line with the Democrats, fall in line with these really radical groups. And now, we're talking about Iran having all these protests, but we have protests on the ground everywhere right now in America. So I just really hope our country can start tackling the corruption here on the ground, and that starts with DOJ.
Yeah, DOJ is the biggest problem, I think. Yeah, I mean, I'm frustrated. I gave up almost. I even told my audience, I kind of gave, because I had so much hope that it would be corrected. But at this point, I don't know. I thought anybody would be better than Pam Bondi,
Same. Michael, it's been a great pleasure meeting with you. I hope we can do this again. And have talks like this. I think they're important. And I think you have a lot of people that want to know more. We would love to get your take on everything. So, Jay, thank you for having me. I'm sorry I do have to go, but I hope this again.
Thank you very much, Madeline.
Follow the Madeline Eliz on X, and I appreciate you coming in here tonight, Madeline.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, Michael, we've been going at this for 2 hours now. We got 18,000.
Wow. Are we on the trending? Is it usually like this, Jay?
Usually this is higher than normal. Usually a few thousand is the norm or whatever, but I've hit as high as 25,000 live listeners, and then 50,000 overall. It'll go for about, on X, it'll go for about a day and a half, and then the views will start falling off pretty quickly.
Great. I
YouTube
mean,
is more steady. You'll just keep getting
mhm,
more and more and more, whereas X, it kind of falls off. But
right.
the caveat to that is the clips do really well, and
Mhm,
so
mhm.
so I
It-
clipped some of
mhm,
from the shows.
Great. And it goes to show that many people are interested in the topics that we're talking about.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's we're watching it unfold in real time. So, and it's we're in uncharted waters. This is like it's very abnormal what's going
It
on, what
is.
happened in the past
Right.
5 years, and there's really no accurate way to predict how this is going to happen. And so, I'm concerned for our kids. I'm concerned for
Me
you and
too.
I, and
Me- mhm.
the rest of the world too, because what happens in the United States doesn't just impact the United States; it impacts the rest of the world. And so
It
that's
definitely does. And I worry about it too. I've been depressed a lot too because of all the especially during the Biden administration. It was, I thought that we had no hope. Especially last year, I did expect Trump to win, but we didn't know the election integrity issue, how it's gonna fall. And
yeah,
but even for us to have all the House, the Senate, and the White House and the judiciary system, um, but it feels like we're still underdogs.
yeah. Well, we definitely are. Yeah, it's for us to claim the House. I don't think is realistic. We barely.
I think we're gonna lose, right? You think we're
Well,
gonna lose? Yeah.
I think if the DOJ pulls it together, it'll motivate a lot of people. I think that is our best option to motivate the base. Is if they get some of these big players and purple walk them and indict them and stuff like that. I think that is what's
Mhm.
going to take to motivate people.
So I'm friends with. Did you say Robert Malone, the Dr. Robert Malone, by the way, the
Yeah, yeah, I had him in.
mRNA vaccine developer, right?
Yep, correct. I've had him in my space before.
Okay, great. Yeah. So I I talked with Laura Loomer
Hmm.
last year, and she doesn't expect us to win because she thinks that it's the MAGA base is not as strong as we think it is, and the left is relentless. And she raised the issue that she doesn't think even many of the senators and the Congress members are really full on Trump, pro Trump. They're just playing their act, and they
Right.
want this Trump phase to go, you know, pass away as soon as possible.
Yeah, for sure. I would agree with that 100%. And that's why what I said is so critical. Like we're coming from behind. We've already wasted an entire year, and yeah, they got some stuff done. They got some great stuff done. Like inflation rate is down to 2.6% or whatever, and it was at its highest or whatever, it was 9.1%, but really around 17% under Biden. So huge win right there. The Department of War, right? They're doing great things. Like Pete
They
Hegseth
are.
is
Yep.
refocused the
I
entire
love him. I love him.
military. Yeah, he's
I think
doing
Hexus is
awesome
doing
things.
an awesome job when everybody looked down on him, including like people like Bill O'Reilly, especially the Fox News people tend to look down on him. Probably, they were there. He was a weekend anchorman, but prior to that, he had experience on war zones. So
Yeah. Well, the thing is like generally who the people that fill that position were prior generals or something like that, and so when you get to those levels, you're kind of a politician. Whereas he came from he's closer to the tactical level, right? He's at the ground level. He knows what the units are facing. He knows the issues that they're concerned about, and so he has a lot better perspective than say somebody who hasn't been a company commander for 30 years. Like he's gonna know a lot more what the troops are
yeah.
feeling and
Hmm.
thinking. So
Hmm.
that was a huge win for us.
I love Marco Rubio, and I do love Pete Hegseth. I know some people might not like Marco as much because of the Israel angle, but I think they're doing a marvelous job. They did a marvelous job in Venezuela, and I think I mean, Trump is doing such a great job.
Yeah,
I think we are spoiled. There's a side that we're spoiled. That Trump is a once in a lifetime. I consider Trump to be the greatest president of the United States,
yeah, for sure.
along the line with George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. But I even tell my audience, even though George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, they would come back they would live in this time of age. I don't think they could have been as great as Trump. Nobody could have beaten the system like Trump did. So I think we shouldn't lose that focus. And even though there might be some angles that people are not satisfactory about, especially I think seems like Israel is a topic of the day. I think people should see the big picture. You know, it's not just that. There's CCP angle, the border, the cartel, the fentanyl issues, and all this, and the tariffs, the trade deals. He's doing a marvelous job, and I think people shouldn't lose focus on that. And I think that's where I have issues with Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens, because these two really became anti-Trump, I think.
Right. Yeah, and I'm not. I love President Trump. I think he's doing a great job on things that nobody else could do. Nobody else could fix, the border like he did. Nobody else could, turn around the Department of Defense and the Department of War. Like nobody else had the balls to do stuff like that. And so for him, I'm really concerned for him too, because again, with the DOJ stuff, they're going to come back for President Trump harder.
I worry about that. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm concerned.
So he has to self-pardon himself. I do think that he has to self-pardon himself, regardless of who goes to, whether JD Vance is going to win. I think he should.
I think he should too, and because they will throw him in prison for nothing.
Ah, man. So this is what President Trump actually said. He said that his kid, I mean, the deep state to go after his kids, what really bothered him the most. So President Trump, they tried to put him in jail for life. So that's why he came roaring back. And I think President Trump knows it, because he experienced all this. He almost died last year, right? 2 years ago. So I do think that Trump probably knows about this, and it goes back to Department of Justice. I think Department of Justice is the most important department. It's actually more important than the War Department and Secretary of State. And I think Trump screwed that in the first term, and I think he did screw up with Pam Bondi. It seems like. So I really wish that he finds somebody like himself.
Yeah, I agree, man.
Yeah.
Well, today has been a pleasure. I appreciate you, bringing in a big YouTube platform, onto our show here, and kind of doing, cross-platform show. I appreciate you taking the time to come hang with us. It was really intelligent conversation. I love Madeline too. She's very bright, and so just a fantastic show, and I appreciate you doing that. I appreciate everybody who tuned in today. We got just under 20,000 right now live.
We're on the trending era, right? Trending.
Yeah, we're at the top on X. So,
you're right. It's number 2, right? Right underneath Alex Jones.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, we're just, I appreciate everybody supporting today. I appreciate you coming on here. It was an awesome conversation, and we should probably do it again.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, I love this. I love talking. I'm usually doing it, a lot on my YouTube side, but I do want to. I think we should have these kind of dialogues regularly, and so somehow through these dialogues, I think we can come to a better conclusion.
The public is really more informed than they ever have been before. You have a section of society that's completely tuned out. They have no clue what's going on. But in terms of like people that are on here that are seeking the truth and stuff, you have a public that's really better informed than we've ever been in history, I think. And, that's why we're, some of the things that we're seeing are so disturbing to us, because you wouldn't have known about them if you didn't have these social media platforms and you're able to have these conversations.
You're right, because you would never hear about these kind of stuff on legacy media, and I think I don't watch it anymore. Even Fox News, I don't go there that often,
right?
Anymore. I would watch like Jesse Waters a little bit, but Sean Hannity, because we do have to give major props to Sean Hannity. He did expose the Crossfire Hurricane. Him and Sarah Carter and John Solomon. But there are still good people in legacy media. But at this point, I think they take marching orders every day, right? So there are certain topics that are just out of, that are out of line, but we can talk about it. So I think it's proven today too. That's why people watch your show, Jay.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on here. If you're not already, follow Mike One Truth. Follow him on his, YouTube platform, huge YouTube platform, great channel. As you can see, he's a fantastic speaker and very knowledgeable. And I just appreciate you coming in here tonight. And I'm thankful for our friends that connected us, because that, they deserve some credit for that.
We should give him props too.
Yeah, he's yeah, I appreciate him for linking us up too, and yeah, for make great again is his handle.
Make great again. Yeah.
Yeah, on X. So I appreciate him. So all right, Michael, well, it's been a pleasure. I hope you have a good night, and like I said, we should do this again. Appreciate you coming in here.
Thank you very much, Jay, and I had a great time.
Yeah,
It was
awesome.
my pleasure.
All right, thanks, brother.
Mm.
All right, well, there you have it. Michael Wan, fantastic speaker. Follow him on X, follow him on YouTube. Help his X handle out, help him regrow that channel. Hopefully we see him here doing lives on X too. For those that tuned in tonight, I appreciate you. Thank you for the repost. Thank you for the comments. And everybody, you guys rock. I appreciate you all for joining in tonight. So without further ado, have a good night. I appreciate y'all.